Hey everybody, down here blocking on this deck lid for the 74 Plymouth Duster for maybe 45 minutes or an hour, something like that. Been using a 24-inch block and a 4-inch block and a little firm 3.5 by 4-inch foam pad. I use that foam pad up in these corners because it's got just a little dip that goes over which direction. But what you see on here, the white, is a matrix epoxy that I bought a little over a year ago. And I ended up changing paint manufacturers because I was having, issues with the paint store that I was using. So anyway, I heard lots of great comments about Tamco. So I tried their primer and I'm very happy with it. And I'll end up using all their products on my 68 Nova, which is over there in a mess, totally dismantled now. But to get back about this deck lid, put the white epoxy on here, and the epoxy has been on there, I'm going to say 5 or 6 months. And last week sometime, I had a little bit of that old nasty Roberto direct to metal primer, which isn't really direct to metal. It didn't stick to direct to metal, caused me a bunch of issues. But I've been using it for guide coat, and I mixed it up kind of thin, and I put 2 or 3 coats on there, and it actually turned out to be more than guide coat, as you can see here. And then when I was priming some more stuff, I had a little bit of the Tamco HP 5311 left over, so I just sprayed it over the top of it. And I had the 1390 reducer in it. So as I said, none of this was sanded. I just sprayed it on there for a guide coat. And, as most of us have realized over the years, for some reason primer will stick to primer somewhat decently when it's not sanded. Now, I will end up sanding all the gray and the black off of here. But I was just doing this to show you, when I looked at this deck lid after the epoxy was on here, it was wet, and I could see these big dents that were on this side, which were right here, right there, right there, and right there. That one I didn't notice. It's not very deep, and I didn't notice these high spots. But so as I'm blocking, and I'll go back and tell you that I used a polycarbonate disc that I got from Harbor Freight to strip all the paint off this down to the bare metal. So that is why you're seeing all these little deviations and low spots. And I'll also admit that some of it is because a primer gun, it doesn't spray things exactly smooth. You got these tiny little flutters in there, even with the best of your paint and primer guns. So it's not going to lay the film exactly flat. But I just did this to show you. I'll back up and punt here a little bit. When I put this gray guide coat on, like I said, I had it over reduced with a 1390 reducer. It was nice and wet and shiny. And again, I only seen those dents that I pointed out a while ago. But all these areas here, these big spots, that you couldn't see. It looked flat. And the same here. So that's one thing I just wanted to show in this video is, even though something looks good to the eye, it's really not. So if you want something really show quality finish, guide coat it and block it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and block this, and like these spots here, I'm down to bare metal. I can't go any more on them. So this little area here, what I'm going to have to do is just sand it down until I get back to the white epoxy. Yes, it will make a low spot again, but it's not so bad to where I think it needs filler. Now, these areas here, that I pointed out. There and there, right over there. They're most likely going to need a little bit of filler. And these spots, I'm not too sure about. I'm going to balk on them a little more. I think I can get most of this out using that 24-inch block without going down to bare metal. If I can, that'll be great. Then I don't have to put any filler in there. But just wanted to do that little video and show you that just because something looks flat, you know, it's not always that way. Give you a prime example of something. I painted it was 84, 85 Porsche 911 about 21 years ago. And there was a dent on the very back fender where it rolled off right around by the engine bay. And I felt that dent. It was about the size of a quarter. So I scooped up the primer we already had on there and with some 80 grit. Wiped a little metal glaze in it because it wasn't very deep at all. I filled it up and I blocked it. And I kept filling of that and filling of it and filling of it, and I just felt an imperfection. And I was like, good God. And I worked that dent probably 5 or 6 times, trying and trying and trying. I used curved foam pads I used flat foam pads that were firm. And no matter what, it felt bad. So I just ended up putting 4 or 5 coats of primer over the area, and I blocked it again using the firm pad that was flexible, and I could still feel it. So I thought, what the heck? So I got some wax and grease remover and I poured it all over it, got it wet, and I turned the lights off in the shop. Got down beside it and bobbed my head over which direction. I couldn't see the dent for nothing, but I could definitely feel it. I was like, the heck with it, I'm done with it. So it's crazy sometimes how body work does. Some things you can't see that are there, and other things, you know, you feel, but you still can't see it. So one of the things kind of half a dozen, one six of another. But I just thought I'd share this little video. Gonna finish blocking this and get some body filler on them. 4 or 5 dents are all over this, and hopefully I don't have to do anything around that body line right down the middle. Hopefully all that'll block out. And I'll put 4 or 5 coats of primer on here, and something else I'll address here when I'm doing that many coats of primer. I know the can says, you know, 10 to 15 minutes, or some say 15 to 20 minutes. What I do when I'm putting that many coats of primer on there, my first one, if it says 15 minutes, I'll wait the 15 minutes. My second coat, I'll wait 20 minutes. And then when I come around before I do my third coat, I'll wait about 30 minutes. And when I come around and do my fourth coat, I'll wait about 40 minutes. And when I do my fifth coat, I'll wait about 50 minutes. Now, yes, this does lengthen the process a lot, but when you're stacking that many coats of primer, it's just my opinion, you really need to increase the flash time, and also make sure you use a slow activator and a really slow reducer. That way it gives it time to, you know, flash off, you know, and you don't have as much problems about solvent pops either. And primer has been my experience. Sometimes it does solvent pops, but it's more prone to shrinking and cracking later when you stack it too much. So giving it that extra flash time, I think, is a good idea. Anyway, if I'm wrong on this, Tammy Miller can chime in and let me know, or maybe Jeremy Green, and any of you other guys too that have been doing this for years. Just let me know what your opinion is. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and if you don't mind, go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe. If you got any questions, leave them. I'll get to them when I can and answer. And appreciate it. Thanks for watching.